All right. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Happy Sunday to you. I'm Chef Laura. I own Honest to Goodness Personal Chef Services. We've been serving the greater Seattle and Eastside areas for almost 9 years now, helping out lots of busy professional couples and families who don't have time to cook for themselves, have special dietary needs, who want a great home entertaining experience. There's so many different things that we do to share our talents with your table. Including our virtual cooking class today featuring Chef Stacey. And I know many of you know Chef Stacey, and we're glad for you to be here today and your support. Just hope we have a good afternoon overall. Certainly our goal is to educate and inspire, share some tips to help you be better in your own home kitchens, to think like a personal chef, be better prepared for planning a meal, planning a week's worth of meals, and incorporating ingredients that you have on hand, building a good pantry, and kind of stock list of staple items that you can use for your cooking and baking. I'm going to go through just a quick little bio introduction of Stacey. And then I would also, after that, welcome everybody to unmute and maybe just quickly introduce yourself and what brought you here today. And if there's any tip or two or pointer that you're looking to learn, we'll be sure to include that. There is an opportunity, let me admit her. If you have any questions throughout, please feel free to drop those in the chat box and I'll help moderate throughout the afternoon. We'll answer questions as we can, and then certainly at the very end. So we definitely want to make this fun, educational, interactive here and there. So without further ado, let me introduce Chef Stacey. She was born and raised in Whidbey Island, so local native here in the greater Seattle area, attended Seattle Pacific University. And while she was at school, she worked at Chocolapolis. So she's got some training in bean to bar chocolate work. She's also been a cheesemonger, a barista. She's worked for Tom Douglas restaurants and also at Fair Start, which is an amazing local organization helping with culinary training for our local community and catering. Amongst her friend group, Stacey's known as the foodie and has always I think been encouraged to get into a service like what we do, where she can make a meaningful difference for people, really provide something that they need and also hopefully something that they enjoy. Stacey's been with Honest to Goodness almost 2 years now. It'll be 2 years in July. I can't believe how quickly time goes. And she's been a very valuable asset to our team. Currently, Stacey serves 4 clients a week, 3 of whom she has served for anywhere from 1 to 2 years total. So that speaks volumes to the relationships that she's built with her clients, the quality of work that she does for them to be working with her for 1 to 2 years is amazing. So we love that. Stacey and her husband live in North Seattle, and they have a 4-year-old daughter, June, who I'm sure loves to sample mommy's cooking and lick the beaters, right? When you bake.
You might make a cameo. She's watching a Pixar movie right now. We don't really know how long that will last. So.
Okay, that will be a lot of fun. And what else can I say? We're just glad to have Stacey on our team, and the creativity and the personalization that she shares and the care that she shows for our clients is really amazing. So welcome. If everybody, a couple little housekeeping notes. We encourage everybody to view this in speaker mode so you can see kind of up close and personal what Stacey's doing. And we might bounce back and forth with some on-spot video viewing of her at the stovetop so you can see a little bit more closer in action. But before I turn it officially over to Stacey, I'd love to invite everybody to introduce themselves. So if you could quickly unmute yourself, say hi, and what you're looking to get out of today, that would be great. So why don't we start with Amy?
Hi everyone, I'm Amy Donald. I'm actually Stacey's sister-in-law, and I have 3 little ones. So any help with easy weeknight meals is awesome around here. Yeah, excited.
Excellent. Thanks, Amy. And Gail?
Hi, I'm Gail. I'm Stacey's aunt, and I live in Minnesota.
Oh, wow.
And we're at home a lot and just looking for being more organized.
Yeah. Welcome. Glad to have you here, Gail, all the way from Minnesota. I think you win the distance award. Next up, I see Katrina. Hi, welcome.
Hi, I'm Katrina. I know Shannon McIntyre from Honest to Goodness. That's how I found out about you. And I'm a professional organizer, and I've gone back and forth in my own life with meal prep. So I thought it'd be nice to kind of learn from a professional to give tips to my clients and for myself.
Excellent. Thanks,
Will
Katrina.
you tell me when you do a Zoom class? Because I want to learn how to professionally organize. Okay. Thank you.
Let's see. Next, I see Marcia.
Hey, I am, oh, where am I up there? Am I up there?
Yep.
Okay. I'm Allie's mom, and Allie has been friends with Stacey for many years. She can say how many when she gets on. And it's just, well, sounds like fun. I want to see what Stacey does.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
If you're sensing a theme and you've never met me before, this is mostly people who are related to me or lived with me at one point. It's gonna be a fun group.
It is. Next, I see Joan, and I think you're Stacey's mom.
Oh, you're muted, Mom.
Okay, now can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm Stacey's mom. I lived with her for what, 2 years, and she's now teaching me how to cook, which is so much fun. So I'm looking forward to today, and her dad's here too.
Hi.
Clark.
Hi there. Welcome. You guys have raised an amazing daughter.
Oh, thank you. We think so too. We're very proud of her.
Next, I see Joe.
I'll let you talk.
I'm Allie, Joe's wife. I was putting our baby down for a nap before this, so he logged on. I was Stacey's roommate, and I am still her friend since college.
One thing you're looking forward to.
And
today.
one thing I'm looking forward to for today is just kind of more efficiency in the kitchen, week to week, day to day. Yeah, we have a baby, so things aren't as easy as they were before. So
We understand. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks to you both for being here. Next, I see Teresa. Hi. Welcome.
Hello. So I don't know Stacey at all. Never ever met her. But I know Laura through BNI, through our networking group.
Yeah.
And so she had posted something about this, and I'm like, ooh, that sounds interesting. I'm a single mom of 2 boys, and it's actually, well, my youngest, who's 11, is autistic. So he has a very restricted menu that he has kind of the same things all the time. So most of the time I'm cooking for myself and my 13-year-old son, who kind of grazes all the time after 12 and then eats like all night long. And he's also, but he's gotten into cooking recently and like wanting to help me in the kitchen. Kind of, I think also ways it's not at the computer. So he gets getting that social interaction. And I've usually been a like heat and eat sort of person because I mean, I would cook, but not that much. So I'm getting back into cooking dinner and actually planning ahead, having the ingredients, cooking dinner. But what I'm finding is I cook a lot and then the leftovers aren't necessarily enjoyed in time, you know, because it's only 2 of us. And so I want to find, I'm looking to find meals that I can cook that kind of can stretch or manipulate into different things throughout the week, you know, or whatever that can, you know, and that he and I can do together and that sort of thing. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. And last but not least, Krista. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi, friend of Stacey. We've got a 4-year-old and a 6-month-old at home, so I feel like I'm drowning whenever we get to dinner time and I need help.
You're not alone. There's a lot of parents here of kids of all ages, so we'll try to run the gamut and help everybody with that. And then you'll also see Alex is on here today. He is Stacey's husband and wingman who's going to help out with some alternate video work. So thank you so much, Alex, for your love and support and being here today. So without further ado, I think I got everybody. Without any further delay, I'm going to turn it over to Chef Stacey, And if everybody could mute themselves, please, that would be great. I'm going to do the same. And here we go. Take it away, Stacey.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and she mentioned this before, but type any questions you think of at any point into the chat box. Laura can interrupt me, like nothing I'm doing is crucial, so we can answer questions at any time. So yeah, that's me. You heard a bit about me. This class is just basically a demo of what I do for all of my clients every week. I'm just gonna go through what I do to prep for a week of meals for my clients. When I do it, I'm cooking it all in a 3 to 4 hour window. But a lot of this is versatile. You can do some prep on the weekend and then save some cooking for the night of if you want, you know, your proteins to be fresh cooked or your veggies to be more fresh on the night of. So it's really versatile. And then I've sort of already cooked swap outs for a lot of this stuff. So it's not going to be in real time. We won't be here for 3 to 4 hours. So I'm just going to sort of give you the basics of 1 week or one Sunday in the life of a personal chef. Hopefully you'll get some good tips and tricks that you can use for your own families. We sent out the 4 recipes that I'm going to be using today, but I think it was mentioned in the email, I'm going to be modifying these. So it's not going to be the exact ingredients you see because I'm modifying them to kind of reuse ingredients and get more bang for the buck for some of these things that we're using. If you want, if you want a list of the exact things I bought for today, just let us know. We can email that to you really easily too. Okay, so first we'll go through everything that I'm going to be using. These are just tools and things that I use a lot as a personal chef. And these are all things I'm going to be using today as well. So the first and most important thing, a sharp knife and a cutting board. So we're going to go through, actually after I do this, we're going to go through knife skills a little bit. If you're in your kitchen and you want, feel free to grab a knife and an onion or something if you have it and follow along. If not, you can just watch. I'm going to go through just kind of the basics of knife skills for you. This is a honing rod or a sharpener. And this is, I hone my knives almost before every time I use them to keep them sharp. You've probably heard this before, a sharp knife is a safe knife. It's knives that are getting a little too dull and a little too blunt that tend to miss their mark and get you in the finger. So a good honing rod is really important. This one's ceramic. I don't know if you can see, that's why it's white. Ceramic honing rods are much more efficient and do a better job than steel ones. I've ordered this one on Amazon, but that's my secret recommendation. This is a microplane zester. Raise hands, anybody have one of these at home? Yeah, I think I use this, like aside from my knife, more than any other tool in the kitchen. We're going to be using it to zest citrus today, but also you can use it to grate your garlic and ginger. Instead of trying to mince with your knife, this is way easier. So that's what we're going to be using for that. Peeler, of course, grater, whisk. This is all pretty standard. Good pair of kitchen shears. We're using these for a few things today, but mainly we're going to be using them to peel and devein our shrimp. So that's why we have those. Wooden spoon, citrus juicer. This isn't crucial. You can just use your hand and like something to catch the seeds. Meat thermometer. This is really important, and I suggest investing in a good one because you're going to be using it so often, and you want one that's accurate and gives you a really quick reading. This is from Thermapen. They make lots of different good ones. Immersion blender. This is, okay, I said microplane was my most used tool, but I actually use this a lot. I bring this to every client's house when I cook for them. It has a jillion uses, and it's so much easier than pulling out and cleaning a full-size blender. And finally, this is a melon baller. I know this is like super vintage. I feel like we didn't really have this in my house growing up because it was a very like 60s thing to have. But this I use a lot for scooping squash and things that are a little bit tough to get out with a spoon because it's sharper on the edges. So it's old school, but it works well. Okay, that's pretty much it for tools. So I think I'll just quickly go through the 4 things we're going to be cooking today, and then we'll just hop right in. Okay, so first we're going to be making a roasted vegetable and sausage tray bake. So this is kind of the theme for today, is that the oven is going to be doing almost all of the work for us. We're going to be roasting, oh boy, my brother's here, guys. It is family reunion. Okay. Excuse me. The oven's going to be doing all the cooking for most of the meals that we're making today. So there's a lot of chopping and prep, but then once it's in the oven, it's hands off. So that's going to make things a lot easier for us today. So that's the first thing, is a sausage tray bake with vegetables, and we'll be kind of creating a salad out of it at the end with fresh arugula and some fresh croutons. Second, we're going to be making a blended roasted vegetable soup. So we're going to be roasting all this stuff together, and then we're just going to reserve some of those roasted vegetables to plop into a saucepan or into a soup pot and make our blended soup. So that's basically instant dinner. And that's topped with croutons. Third, we are making, what's my third thing? Shrimp tacos with roasted onions and peppers. It's as simple as it sounds. We're going to be getting a triple use out of some of those roasted vegetables to make our shrimp tacos. And finally, we are making a Greek chicken brown rice bowl. Super versatile. It can be a grain bowl, or you can buy pita bread and make it wraps. You can buy lettuce and make it into a salad. Today we're going to be making those brown rice bowls, but I'll teach you the marinades and the sauces and everything we'll need to top that. So, all right, is everyone ready? Let's get started. Okay, thumbs up. I can see your thumbs up even though I can't hear you. Okay. So, I guess I forgot to mention this. Big old mixing bowls are your friend, especially when you're roasting a ton of veggies. So basically what we're going to be doing is going through veggie by veggie, plopping it in here, olive oil, salt and pepper, dump it onto the sheet tray. So this is going to be our friend. Okay. So we're going to start with the onions, one plain onion and a couple of red onions. So is anybody going to be following along with an onion in your house, or are we all just watching today? Looks like we're all just watching. Okay. Okay, say a little prayer that I don't maim myself. It'll be fine. Okay, so we talked about sharp knife. We talked about cutting board. And before I start chopping, actually, this is a trick I do at all of my clients' houses, is I put a wet towel or paper towel underneath my cutting board, and that takes away all of the slip. And so that makes it a lot safer. We also make those cutting boards that have the rubber corners. Does the same thing, so you wouldn't need to do this if you had one of those. Okay. Were there any questions in the chat yet? No? Okay. All right, I'll keep going. Okay. So when I chop an onion, I always start by taking off the long papery end as opposed to the root end. And then we cut it in half, because we always want to try to cut on a flat side. Anytime you can when you're cutting veggies, make yourself a flat side. It will make it a lot easier and a lot safer to do the rest of the chopping. We're going to remove that whole last layer. I have my compost over here too, by the way. Okay. All right, and you've probably all seen this done a million times, especially if you watch Food Network or something. Flat hand with your fingers like as extended upward as you possibly can. And then you're gonna make your knife parallel with the board. We're doing like, it doesn't really matter because these are gonna go in the soup, so it doesn't have to be precise. But a horizontal cut and a second one. This is kind of a medium dice. And then, so this is the second skill of knife skills, is the claw hand. Can we all practice? Just pretend that you have like rickets or something. You have like, your fingers go all the way under. And that's how you're gonna steady your onion or whatever vegetable you're doing. And that way, your knuckle is what stops the knife and it's never gonna come in contact with the blade. So, you can just move it back along and follow with your knife. Flip it around and then cut your dice. Okay. That's that. Do my other side real quick. Onion, done. So that is the first and probably most common way you're going to be cutting onions. But we are going to be using red onions today for our roasted vegetables and for our shrimp tacos. So instead of doing a dice for these, we're going to do a slice and it'll be pole to pole. So this is a little different. Cutting off both ends, actually. And then in half, taking off the outside layer. I used to just try to peel that very last papery bit. It's not worth the hours in your life that you waste on that. Just get rid of the whole last layer. I won't tell anyone. Okay. So what I was mentioning about pole to pole, that just means rather than making half circles by going this way, like rainbows, we're going to be flipping it this way and chopping pole to pole. And you're just going to sort of imagine making radial cuts. Is that the word? I'm not a math gal, but I think that's what it is. Like the spokes of a wheel. Okay, and then when it gets too far on the other side, you can flip it around. Okay. And then the other side. Okay, so that's the onions. Next, we're gonna do our red bell peppers. Just gonna do one because I have swaps for these. I just want you guys to see. Let's see. Okay, so there's a few different ways you've probably seen to do a red bell pepper. Personally, my favorite way is to stand it up like this and kind of cut the cheeks off. Is that a weird way to put it? The side panels. And then you can kind of follow, you can see where the white sort of pith is and then cut that off as you cut down. And you're left with just clean sides like this. And then just all the way around. And this goes in the compost, all the seeds intact. Clean off any little bits you missed. And these are just getting sliced. Probably about a ½ inch slice like that. And you can throw them right in with your onions because they're all getting roasted together. One thing I forgot to mention is that I have my oven preheated already. So that would be your first step before doing any of this, is I have my oven preheated to 425. Okay. Okay. Onions and peppers. And I mentioned before, this is going to be the move probably a million times today. Dumping it in the bowl, probably about a tablespoon or 2 of olive oil, pinch of salt, and pepper. Okay, and then you can mix. And then I roast on my sheet pans with parchment paper because I'm lazy and I don't want to wash them. Okay, sheet pan and parchment. Line your pan and dump. So the only trick really to roasting vegetables is to know how much time each vegetable needs in the oven. Some of your softer vegetables like onions and peppers, these are only going to need like 20, maybe 25 minutes. But we're going to be dicing up some butternut squash, some carrots, and some sweet potatoes. Those need probably about 35 minutes. So you'll have your timer going. That will help you time it. But yeah, obviously you put hard ones in first, give them 10 or 15 minutes, and then your softer ones can join, and then hopefully they'll be done around the same time. So we're adding one more thing to this pan, and that is our sausages. This is a sausage tray bake, and they're in my fridge. These will probably roast in about the same time as the onions and peppers. I bought these at the market and they're enormous. I was not anticipating that, so hopefully they'll cook in 20 to 25 minutes, but we'll see. And let's nestle them in amongst your veggies. And then give them a couple scores on top. And those juices can escape while it's cooking and mingle with your veggies, and it's delicious. And that's it. And then we're going to put that aside because the hard veggies going first. Okay, so I'm not going to show you all of this. I think I'll just do the, what was that?
Oh, sorry, Stacey, for the interruption. We have 2 quick questions while we're on the sausage tray bake. Joe wants to know what you would recommend in place of sausage for somebody trying to follow a pescatarian diet.
Ooh, that's a good question. Let's see. You know, this bowl has the salad has so much going on that you almost wouldn't really miss the meat. You have like your assortment of roasted vegetables, your fresh arugula, and then I made garlic crouton. I'm making garlic croutons as well. And usually when I have that, I'll just, at the end, I will shave some Parmesan on top, squeeze of lemon or vinaigrette. If you wanted protein, do you eat eggs? You could do a nice sort of egg cooked medium and serve that. But otherwise, let's see. I'm not like super duper familiar with like veggie sausages and things like that. If you have a brand of that that's decent, that would cook in about the same time. So that's an easy swap. That's all I got for you.
Okay. Yeah, and alternately, you could probably put on a nice piece of salmon or fish to roast with the peppers and onions as well to have more fish in your diet. There's also a question from Teresa regarding onion selection. What goes into deciding whether you use a regular, which I guess would be a yellow onion versus a white onion or a red onion? Is it about the taste? Is it the color, both, or something else? So.
Yeah, for me, it was about the color today. When I do onion as like a roasted vegetable that's going to be sort of displayed on a food. I love to pick red because they just are prettier when they roast up. But honestly, flavor-wise, you can swap whatever you have on hand or whatever you prefer. I diced the yellow onion for the soup for the flavor. It's a little more mild, kind of baseline flavor for a soup. Red onion would be absolutely fine too. So it's really up to you. You're just gonna get a little stronger of a flavor with the red onion. Okay, so now the beast. We're gonna break down this butternut squash. I have to admit, I used to be very intimidated by butternut squash, especially the chopping and the peeling. And the fact that sometimes when you cut up a butternut squash, it leaves like this orange stuff on your fingers. So when I'm cooking them for clients, I always glove up. In fact, I'm gonna do it right now, hold on. And then you don't have to worry. That orange sticky stuff will stay in your gloves. And added benefit, if you have gloves around, which actually a lot of people do now for grocery shopping, you can wear these as an added level of grip when you're handling your butternut squash. So first I'm gonna peel it. This is my Y peeler. I'm a super fan of the Y peeler. And I don't know why, but I will not use a straight peeler. If anyone can figure out what that says about me, I would like to know. Okay, so we're taking off the outside skin until you start to see that bright orange all the way around, turning as you go. Make sure your peeler is sharp too. That's another trick. And there's no way that I know to sharpen a peeler at home. So I guess by that, I just mean, make sure your peeler isn't 35 years old and rusty. Okay, getting there. Okay, so that's mostly peeled. To the compost. Okay. Then I'm going to cut off the ends. Oops, you can get quite enough peel there. And then I usually separate it neck and bottom, bulb. Is there a name? What's the technical, if anyone knows the technical name for the bottom of a butternut squash, the seed part. So I cut right where I think it's going to be, a long neck. And then the next job is scooping out our seeds, and that's where our handy melon baller comes in. So this is a lot of chopping and veggie prep, but honestly, this is the bulk of the work that you're going to be doing for all 4 of these meals. So it takes a little time, but the rest is easy, and much of it is hands off. Okay. So how are we doing on time, by the way?
2:35.
Okay. So there's that. Okay, and as I said, it's always the best to give yourself a flat side when you're chopping. This is a super long neck, so I'm going to cut it in half first. And then find your flat side. And for this one, I'm actually just going to cut it into slabs first. These are about ½ inch. It doesn't really matter. The smaller the dice, the faster they're going to roast. So it's up to you how much time you have. And then we're just cutting them into sticks and cutting again to dice. And you know what? I've done all this in advance, plus the roasting. So now that I've sort of shown you the basics, we're gonna pull out our swap tray. Through the magic of television. What does one have to say that? All right, Vanna.
You are, dear.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so we've roasted these. This is an enormous sheet tray. You can just do 2 sheet trays if you don't have one this big. But I've separated it in the oven by vegetable type. So if for some reason I'm roasting it and I'm checking the doneness along the way and my squash is getting soft before my carrots, I can just easily scoop this off into a bowl and put the carrots back in. So we have butternut squash, sweet potato, and carrots. This is probably 2 sweet potatoes and like 3 large carrots and a whole butternut squash. They're all diced the same size just to help get them roasted all at the same time. And let's see, running out of counter space.
What was your roasting temperature, Stacey?
425. And I think I mentioned it was about 35 to 40 minutes for the hard veggies, 20 to 25 for the soft. Can you hand me that tray too? Okay, so did you guys hear that? She stepped on the remote. It turned the movie off. So these are the roasted peppers and onions. Can kind of see about how done I got them. They're a little past soft and sort of into the area of getting a little bit brown in places. I just love the flavor of caramelized peppers and onions, so that's kind of my preference for doneness. Take them out whenever you think they look good. And of course, whenever your sausage is cooked through. So I'm gonna stick this in the oven. My timer. Okay. So the final element of our sausage tray bake, and this is optional if you are gluten-free, is some fresh croutons. And we always have a loaf of bread that's going stale in our kitchen, like at almost every time of my life. So this is a staple in our house. We do this a lot. This works for bread that's like, that you think is too hard. And all you have to do is dice it into little, maybe 1/2-inch dice, put it in a bowl, and then, actually, I'll just do this for you. This won't take long. Take my gloves off. This is the baguette. Maybe I won't chop it. I'll show you how to make the garlic olive oil mixture and then try it for yourself at home. So once you have your bread diced into cubes like that, I usually take a little microwave safe bowl. This is probably a 4-ounce bowl. And then about a tablespoon or 2 of olive oil. If I'm feeling extra special, I'll do like a tablespoon of butter and a tablespoon of oil. And then 1 clove of garlic. I'm gonna use my microplane. Peeling garlic is my least favorite kitchen task. I hate it so much. Here we go. Okay. So you're just going to grate it. It makes just like sort of a minced garlic paste. Falls right in. Okay. And then I mix this as well with some dried herbs if I have them, or I'm gonna add actually some extra garlic powder. I know we just put fresh garlic in there, but garlic powder has a different flavor, a flavor which I really enjoy. So I don't know what it is. It's like, I can't describe it. Like, I don't know, caramelized garlic. It has something different. So a little of that, a little bit of dried basil. I'm like totally eyeballing all of this. There's really no precise measurements for this. And a couple pinches of salt. And mix it up. Before I add this to the bread, I microwave it for 30 seconds. I'll do that quick actually. So even though the garlic is going to be cooked in the oven, I like to pre-cook it like this because it takes out all that sharp garlic note, the kind of garlic that is like gross, like it's like a little too garlicky. It takes off that hit and just mellows it out a little bit. So, oh, it smells so good. So now you have garlic oil or garlic butter, whichever you chose to use. And you're just gonna toss your bread in a bowl with this until it's pretty well incorporated. And then it goes on a sheet tray and goes in the same oven, 425. It can go right with your vegetables. And it takes about 15 minutes to get fully toasted. You'll see it goes golden brown and then a little bit more brown. And then when you taste one, it should be crispy all the way through. Then you can take it out of the oven. I made some yesterday. These are my garlic croutons. Hey, there aren't that many. Okay, these are garlic croutons. So that's it for the tray bake. Should I assemble one just so you can see what it looks like? Okay. So like a high-sided bowl is good for something like this. And you're gonna start with, oh, you know what I just realized is we don't have the sausage. So this one's for Joey. I'm gonna make one without the meat for you. Okay, start with your fresh arugula. A little bit of that. Okay, and then just like a little bit of each of your roasted veggies on top. So just so you know, we roasted enough initially to do this recipe plus the soup. So I would save about half of what you have on this tray for the soup later. Okay. A little bit of your caramelized peppers and onions. Just like that. You can imagine a nice juicy brown sausage on top, even though I don't have it right now. And top with a few of your croutons. And then, oh, one moment. I need my cheese. A little bit of shaved Parmesan on top. Okay. And then lastly, just a squeeze of lemon and some flake salt. And that's it. That's meal number one, guys. There you go. Okay. So any questions before we move on to the soup?
The only other question we have at the moment is, what is your favorite knife?
My favorite knife. So the knife I'm using today is Victorinox. I forget if that's the brand name or the model name.
That's the brand name. They make the Swiss Army knives.
Oh, really? Okay. So this is the Victorinox 10-inch chef knife. It's actually really like cheap. It's not cheap. It's like mid-range expensive, but it stays sharp a really long time. It's easily honeable and resharpenable. The grip is really good, comfortable in your hand. So if you're just starting a knife collection, this is a great first purchase. And then I have another knife that's like from a company called Misen, M-I-S-E-N. They make really good knives as well. And I use, honestly, when I cook at my clients' houses, this is kind of the only knife I bring. I can make this work for almost any task in the kitchen. The only thing it doesn't work super well for is slicing bread, which I don't do often because almost all of my clients are gluten-free. So yeah, your knife collection at home does not have to be big. Honestly, if you have a good chef's knife, a good bread knife, and maybe a good paring knife, it's kind of like the basics. You'll be good to go for almost any recipe. All right, so moving on to the soup. So this one we might need my cameraman to follow me while I start. Oh, I need my pot too. Hold on. Okay. My Dutch oven is so dirty inside, don't judge me. I mean, it's not dirt, it's like, you know, cooked. So turning on medium heat. And remember, we have all of our veggies roasted. The only thing I'm gonna do in this pot is saute some yellow onion with garlic and herbs. And then all we have to do is add everything together and blend. So preheat that. A little bit of olive oil in the pan. Is everybody able to see that screen on Zoom pretty well? The action cam? Okay, good. All right, I'm gonna wait a little bit for that. While we're waiting, we can do some more garlic. Do a couple more cloves. One of my chef coworkers, Ruben, only ever uses pre-peeled garlic at his clients' houses, and I used to think that I didn't need to do that. And now I have to do that. It just takes so much time. Okay. And I'm just smashing it with the heel of my hand, so I just like disintegrated that one. And it loosens the skin just enough to pull it off. Okay, and I'll take my microplane and just prep some garlic. This is not going to go in at first with the onions because it cooks in less time, but at least we'll have it prepped and ready. Oh boy. And if you sense it getting close to your fingers and you don't want to grate your fingers, just stop. Just sacrifice the end of the garlic. It's another thing I won't tell anyone. A little bit of garlic. Okay, and now I'm just gonna add some thyme. This can go in right with the onions. This is pretty hearty. So let's do this. Onion. And then I'm just gonna do this right into the pot. This is another thing where you don't have to be precise because we're blending it. So just make sure you don't get any of the woody stem part. I usually grab it at the base in my fingers, kind of a grip like that, and pinch and pull, and it pulls just the soft leaves off. This only works in the winter when the thyme stems are really woody and tough. Picking thyme in the spring and summer is really annoying. Another thing I hate to do. Can you guys hear me? Okay. I just realized this one's on mute and I'm talking down into my pot. So just Laura holler if it's getting a little mumbled.
Nope, you're all good. And while I'm unmuted, another question that's come in is any preference or knowledge on a garlic press versus garlic zesting?
Yeah, honestly, I never use my garlic press anymore. I find that I can get the same result from the microplane, and I think there's a little less waste. Maybe it's just my garlic press that always leaves a chunk of garlic inside, like the flat pancake part. But I never use it anymore. A, it's harder to clean, and I think I get a little more efficient use out of my zester. But again, it's personal preference. If you really like the feel of a garlic press and you like that you can do it without getting your hands close to it, that's another plus of the garlic press, is that it's a little safer for your fingertips. But yeah, oh, I forgot, I should be stirring this. Okay. Collecting onions, I'm gonna add some salt and pepper. And remember, all of your roasted veggies have already been seasoned before they went in the oven. So do a little less salt than you normally would if you were building a soup. And then you can taste at the end for seasoning. Okay. I'll just let this go maybe another minute before we add the garlic. And then I have already, this is 4 cups of chicken stock. I've already put in a measuring cup. If you are vegetarian, you can use veggie stock. You could use water. Honestly, it would still taste really, really good. But I'm using chicken stock today because it's what I had on hand. Okay, go with the garlic. Okay. If you wanted to get really fancy, you could do a glug of white wine at this point, maybe a third of a cup, and kind of let it cook off just a little bit before you add the rest of your ingredients. Do we have white wine? Hey, I'm fancy. Yeah, that's the smell. That's the smell I wanted. Okay. Now, I'm not getting really any color in this onion because all of my other veggies are roasted and have kind of a caramelized flavor already. And here's the fun part, the dump. That's a bad way to describe it. Okay. All right, I'm just gathering the ends of my parchment and watch me biff this completely. Oh my God. Okay, that's it. I did it. Okay, and then I have some of these.
Katrina's asking, what does the wine add to the finished product?
Just the flavor of wine. Is that an answer? I'm not really sure. Just I like the flavor. I'm adding a few of my peppers and onions in here too.
Wine for the pot and wine for the cook.
Exactly. And honestly, it's just an excuse to always have wine in my fridge. Okay. All right. That's it. Okay. I reserved a little more than half of my tray of veggies, so this might be a real thick soup. Yours is probably not going to look quite so chunky at this point. So I'm cooking this. I'll talk to this camera. Thank you, cameraman, too. I'm cooking this as if I was going to eat it tonight. If you're doing this on a Sunday night and you want to save it for a later dinner, it doesn't have to be hot. You could blend it at this point, refrigerate it, and it's ready for later. I'm heating it all the way through because we're going to plate it up. So it's really versatile. Honestly, if you really wanted it to be fast, you could omit the sauteing of the onion and garlic part and just add your cold roasted veggies and your cold stock, some thyme, any seasonings you want, and blend that up, and it would still be delicious and save you some time. But adding those sauteed onions with the garlic and thyme kind of just brings it up one more level. Okay, so let's do the immersion blender. All right, I guess I do need camera too. Come on back.
And Stacey, what are your thoughts on adding heavy cream to that soup?
I am always pro heavy cream, very much in the pro camp. That would make this, you know what? That's an Ina garden move, and this is an Ina recipe. And now I'm sort of shocked that she doesn't do that in the recipe. She always does that. So yes, heavy cream would be a really welcome addition in this, but this is going to be a dairy-free version for those who need that. Let's see.
Oh.
That's it. Okay. Okay. So immersion blender, if you don't have one of these at home, highly recommend it. Here we go. It's gonna be loud, so I'll just be quiet. I'm just pressing down at first in just different regions until it gets sort of semi-blended. And then you can move it around a little more. If your pot is wide and you don't have sort of the depth of soup to get your immersion blender immersed, you can tip it to the side a little bit, like that, and you'll kind of start to see it get more and more blended. And the chunkiness is up to you. If you want some sort of pieces in your soup, you can stop at any point when it looks good to you. I like mine super blended. If you have a stand-up blender like a Vitamix and you want to get it like really smooth, that would do this for you. I would be very careful blending hot liquids though. Just do it in smaller batches. Okay. Yeah, maybe you should add more water to this. Mine's super chunky. Hold on, guys. We're cooking in real time here, so I need to check my sausage. Just like that right there. All right. Oh boy. Looking pretty good. So for any sausage, no matter the meat, you just want to get to 160, 165, and we're at 170. So I'm going to pull it. All right. Imagine that on your tray bake salad bowl from before. That on low. Back to blending. So yeah, this is oopsie. Taking a little more time because mine had more veggies than I had a larger veggie to stock ratio. And now you can start to see the smooth texture come through. Okay. So yours is going to look a little thinner than this, but this will do. So now it's time to plate or bowl it. Ooh, are you going to be eating all of this tonight?
Sure.
Great.
Can't wait.
Okay. And back over here to my crouton bowl. A few croutons and a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil. Okay, that's it. You want to see it on this camera or that camera? There it is, blended roasted veggie soup with croutons and olive oil. And that's meal number 2. Kind of want to taste it. You guys want?
Joey wants to know, do those croutons tend to stay fresh for a while?
Yes, so that's a good question. The more moisture you bake out of those little bits of bread, the longer they're going to stay crispy. So if you might have the problem of your oven being a little too hot, which means you would get the bread a little too brown before the inside of the cube gets dehydrated. So then just turn down your oven, probably about 10 or 15 degrees, and then give it a little longer in the oven. You just want to drive out all of that moisture from the bread. But these I made yesterday, and they're like, they taste exactly the same level of crispiness. So, and this seasoning wise, to me, tastes great. You can add more salt and pepper if you want. If you want a little more sort of zing, you can add a squeeze of lemon, or just like maybe a teaspoon or two of red wine vinegar. Vinegar is a great way to make your food taste better. People sort of discount vinegar as a seasoning, but I use it a lot in almost any recipe. So, okay, that's that. Can you place it over in our lineup?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What's next? I asked myself. The next thing is shrimp. Okay, let me do a little cleanup. Get rid of all my superfluous items real quick. Space, guys. All right, so our shrimp is in the fridge. Okay. So this is shrimp. It's a jumbo shrimp. The way they're classified, you probably know this at the store, is by how many individual shrimp would fit in a pound. So like a 15-20 is a shrimp, where 15 shrimp equal a pound. I think these are 10-15s. These ones are bigger. So most of these are already cleaned. I've already done the peeling and deveining for the majority of these, but I just want to show you a couple that still have the shell on, just so you know the process. Can we see pretty well on this camera, or should I switch? Good, okay. Okay, as a personal chef, I only ever buy peeled and deveined shrimp. If you're like looking to make your life simpler and take less time, do not buy shrimp with the shell on. Another thing that will take hours away from your life. But if you must. So what I'm doing is I just cut the outside shell, just the outside layer, with my shears up and over the top. So legs are on the bottom, I'm cutting the other side. And then you're just gonna peel it apart. There. Just like that. Grab it from the underside and pull it off with the legs. It comes off all in one piece usually. Sometimes I have to do a little bit of cleanup, but for the most part, that's it. And this one is clean, but sometimes we have a little vein of shrimp stuff. I don't know what to call it. Shrimp digestion. See if we can find one. Nope. Sounds pretty clean. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Is this how you do your shrimp, Laura? Do you have another methods for this, or is this pretty much standard?
No, my method is to buy them already done.
Yeah.
So peeled and deveined, or P&D as a kind of an industry shortcut.
I also, I do sometimes buy frozen shrimp. I think shrimp is one of those proteins where there's not a ton of lost texture and flavor with freezing. They thaw pretty well and are still very tasty as long as you don't overcook them. That's the trick. But these are fresh. Okay, what do I got left? 2 left. I haven't had a single vein on any of these. This isn't good for my educational value.
So shrimp are cooked when they look like a C, and they're overcooked when they look like an O. That's my little shrimp tidbit.
I learned something today. Okay. And the last one. Oh, this one has a vein. Good. Whew. All right. So this is going to be a little tough to see, but you can see here's his little vein. And I just take a little knife and pull it out gently. You can see it separate like that. And then you can just yank it out from the base. And there it goes. All right. Now, we're gonna add a marinade to these shrimp. Shrimp do not need long in a marinade. They soak up flavor really quickly, especially if you're using citrus juice. If you leave a shrimp in citrus juice too long, it will actually cook. Something about the acids, denaturing the proteins, science stuff. Okay, so speaking of citrus, I'm going to start with a little bit of lime juice for these. I have about a pound of shrimp, maybe a slightly more. I'm doing about a half of a lime for these. Okay. And a little bit of olive oil. Pinch of salt. Pepper. Cumin. It's going to be the Mexican flavor coming in. And if you want, you can add chili powder to this, or maybe like red pepper flakes or cayenne if you want a little kick. I'm just going to keep it super simple for today. And finally, some grated garlic. Another garlic clove. I should have peeled these before we started. This is good. You can learn in real time how long it takes me to peel my garlic. Okay. 1 clove of garlic. Oops. Okay. And then I'm with my hands pretty gently though, because shrimps have kind of a sharp little tail thing. You don't want to poke yourself too bad. I gently toss these in this marinade until they're all well coated. And then 10, maybe 15 minutes at the most marinating. And while those sit and marinate, I'm gonna make the rest of the taco toppings. Okay. And then we'll cook the shrimp together because they take like just a few minutes. So that'll be quick. All right, so we're using corn tortillas for these. We always have tortillas in our fridge at all times. Some flour, some corn, because we have a difference of opinion in our home as to which are better. But they're better for different things. That's true, right? So we're gonna use corn. Before we serve these, this is what we like to do because we have a gas burner, is we turn the burner on like medium low, and you can put your tortillas directly on your gas grate and just watch them, don't walk away. Wait till they get just a tiny bit of color on one side, flip them and do the same thing on the other side. And they're fresh, they taste like taco truck tortillas immediately. Other toppings, we're gonna do some sliced avocado. If you want, you can turn it into guacamole. It's super easy. We're just gonna do sliced for today. Is Amy still on here? Amy,
Yeah.
Amy, like the world's best guacamole. And can I tell them your secret ingredient?
Oh, please do.
Okay. So this blew my mind. I had guacamole at Amy's house and she diced green apple into tiny, tiny dice and put it in the guacamole with lime, cilantro, salt and pepper, a few other things. But the like crunch and the tartness, you can't tell what it is. Like I had to ask her, I was like, what is this flavor and crunch that's in here? It's delicious. I do it for every time I make guacamole now. So if you want to do that, that's a really good option for these shrimp tacos. Today we're just gonna slice. You guys, I caught this avocado right before it was not edible, so don't look too close. Okay, I just cut these in quarters. I don't know if you saw me do that. And then I lay it on one of the flat sides and it's easy to peel the skin back. I do this when I'm slicing instead of like scooping to make guacamole because I want it to be intact and smooth on the outside. So that's a good way to do it, just peeling the skin off. And then just a thin slice like this. Okay. Do the other side. Oops. All right. And then cherry tomatoes, just gonna use a few of these. Oopsie. I'm gonna make a really small batch of cherry tomato salsa. Here we go. Little bowl. This is like super easy. I'm just cutting them in half. Like this. This one I'm going to cut in thirds because it's huge. I don't know if you've heard that trick that people say to like put all your cherry tomatoes down and then cover them with like a plate and then try to do that. Don't do that. It's not going to work the way you think it's going to work. And it's going to squish them and they're not going to be even. And you're going to be frustrated and be snippy to your family members. That's my prediction. Okay. So a little bit of lime juice. Whoopsie. I'm going to add, oops, where's my shallot? Oh, it's gone. Can you see the shallot in there? A little bit of diced shallot. Another thing where you should just take the whole outside layer off because it takes too long. And just like you would an onion, but smaller. So you have to kind of pay a little closer attention. Slice horizontally down this way, and then chop into fine dice. That goes in with your tomatoes. A little bit of cilantro. This is already washed, so I'm just gonna rip some off. One of the things that's really frustrating when you're buying groceries for the whole week is when you buy your cilantro and tender herbs and they immediately turn into black brown goop. So this is something I do, which is a little high maintenance, but I swear it's worth it. Get a glass jar, take it out of the bag, plop it in the water, and then find an area in your fridge where it can sit standing up. If you don't have room in your fridge, put it in a bag, in a plastic bag with a damp paper towel, and just make sure it's sort of, you can take the wire wrap off so that it's able to breathe a little bit, and it'll last much, much longer. If you do it this way, it'll last for like 2 weeks. So there's some cilantro. Also, cilantro stems are delicious. Don't throw them away. You can use them the same way you use your leaves. They even have, like, in my mind, a better flavor than the leaves.
Joey and Allie asked, why do you choose shallot? Less strong than onion?
Yes, that's all it is. When I'm doing it in a raw preparation like this, I'm an onion wimp. Like, I know that like probably a Mexican restaurant would use raw, like white onion. To me, it's too much. Shallot is a little bit sweeter, a little bit milder. And I can get a finer dice for my salsa. And then this is optional, jalapeno. I'm also a spice wimp. This is very a revealing time. You guys are finding out all the most embarrassing things about me today. That I'm a spice wimp and an onion wimp. So this is what I do at my own home. Alex, try this and tell me if it's spicy. Is it?
Yeah, it's got a kick.
Okay, so we're not gonna use it. And that is how we do that process in our house. But if you like spice, a little bit of jalapeno. Okay, and did I add olive oil? Not yet. Little glug of olive oil, salt and pepper. And that is cherry tomato salsa. And it's delicious. Okay, we got our avocado. We got our cherry tomato salsa. We got our shrimp marinating. What's the other? Oh, cheese. So I bought some feta because we're gonna need it for our Greek grain bowl. That is a perfectly acceptable topping for these shrimp tacos. But I also have cotija cheese, which is my absolute favorite cheese for Mexican preparations. So we're gonna be using that on these tacos, but feta will work absolutely beautifully. So I think that's it for the shrimp topping. Should we get cooking? Let me check my notes. Yep, okay. So, camera man, can you follow me? We're gonna, oops, preheat this pan. I have it on medium. Could do medium high. My, you kind of have to learn your stove. My stove runs a little hot. So I have it on 5, which is maybe like a 6, 7 on other people's. I'm gonna clean the area a little bit. Okay. So this gets hot. Add a little oil. Need to wipe up. Okay. You don't want the pan too hot because there's raw garlic on this shrimp and garlic burns really easily. We're just gonna watch this carefully. Got my, I'm using a nonstick pan. I would recommend it for this. You can use a metal pan, just make sure you have enough oil and make sure it's good and hot before you put your shrimp in. I think a lot, when people have issues with protein sticking in their metal pans, it's because they haven't let it preheat quite enough. And a lot of times with proteins like fish especially, if you're finding it sticking a little bit, just give it a little more time, and once it builds that brown crust, it should release from the pan. But we're not going to be building too much of a caramelization here. We just want to gently cook these shrimp quickly. So this is not quite hot enough yet. Okay. Realizing some of these shrimp are bigger than others, so just gonna watch carefully that it doesn't go from C shape to O shape. Okay, little sizzle, good enough. Here we go. I do it usually like kind of in a pattern, so when I go back to check them, I know sort of which order I put them in the pan. Okay, oh, it's 3:30 on it. Okay. I think we're good.
we go. Okay, we'll give that maybe 2 to 3 minutes per side. Should I toast the tortilla, or is that like asking too much?
Sure.
Okay. Here we go. So while that's cooking, I'm turning this other burner on, like a 2-3 for me. Medium, medium, low. Okay, got my other tongue. And watch me burn it, because I'm notorious for doing that. All right. Probably like a full minute on one side. Get a plate. Ah! Oh, it didn't really get any color. I might give it a couple more seconds. Let me turn it up a little. How's my shrimp? Good. That one's just, I put it on and no. Okay, here we go. Little tiny bit of color. Get a little bit more. So if you have black beans, that's also a great addition to these tacos. I find that on weeknights, too many taco elements drives me insane. I like simple tacos, and it means less dishes. You don't have to wash 14,000 tiny bowls. So we're keeping it more simple. Okay, they look like seeds. See, you've got some pink color, and it's opaque about halfway down. That's perfect. Yeah, these shrimp are bigger than those. Uh-oh, froze off my system. So now you get to see a personal chef gets thrown off sometimes, as you probably do in your own kitchen. So I'm just looking for ones where I see the pink coming up the sides and flipping them. What's that? Almost. This one looks like a flip. Okay. These shrimp are pretty big. They didn't have smaller ones at my store. I would probably have gone with a little bit smaller size just for ease of eating. I might cut these up into chunks just to make the tacos easier to eat. Okay. Getting there. Okay. First one. Okay. I think they're all good to flip now. Some of these are making O's, Laura. Don't fire me if I overcook this shrimp.
I've done worse than that, so.
Okay. Pressing on some of these to see if they are a little bit firm. You don't want them to be like rubbery. Okay. To get onto a plate. This one looks done. I'll show you. Maybe I'll cut it open. This one, a little bit longer. That one's done. Okay, so some of these shrimp are sort of leaking a little bit of liquid. That's why it's important not to like super crowd your pan. You want to give them each enough space to weep like just a little bit and not mess anything up. Okay. Okay, you're smelling good. Okay, the bigger ones are taking a minute longer here. So shrimp are kind of something you have to sit and watch, unfortunately, but at least it's only like 5 or 6 minutes. Okay. If you have really fat shrimp, sometimes I'll flip them and cook them on the underside if they sit up like that. All right. I'm happy with these. Okay, that. So let's build our taco. It's getting kind of messy on my counter. Apologies. Okay. So you could wait till these cool just a little bit. I'm just gonna do it quick. I'm gonna cut each one in half for this taco, and then cut the little tail off. So this is enough for 4 meals. Obviously you can scale up or down depending on how many you're cooking. Let's see. Okay. So we've got our shrimp. Oh, you get the cotija. Whoops. A little bit of avocado. A little bit of our cherry tomato salsa. And cheese. Oh boy. There you go. You want to taste it?
Not on camera.
This is so messy to eat. Oh, I can just put it here. Okay, so that's one shrimp taco. If you want a side dish to this, we're about to make a giant pot of brown rice. If you have already prepped that on the weekend and you're having this on a weeknight, take a couple cups of your cooked brown rice and mix them with chopped cilantro, lime juice, cumin, salt and pepper, jalapeno if you want. Mix it up and it's delicious cilantro lime rice on the side. Another use for our brown rice, which we're going to be batch cooking for multiple uses throughout the week. So that's that shrimp taco. Okay, 3 out of 4. Cruising right along.
Stacey, how long would that tomato salsa last in the fridge if you wanted to make that in advance?
It lasts a while. Cherry tomatoes are a little like denser. They don't disintegrate as readily as a regular tomato. I would say you could get 4 or 5 days out of that. If you're making it on a Sunday, you happily eat it on a Thursday or Friday. So it lasts a while in the fridge. If you have jalapeno in it, it's gonna maybe get a little bit spicier over time. So just count on that. Yeah. Any other questions at this point?
I'm not seeing any in the chat at the moment, so we'll just continue on and see what other questions might come up. Actually, I have a question. What inspired you to choose the recipes for today? What goes into your menu planning process when you're thinking about what to make for your family for a week or for your clients for a week?
Yeah, good question. So the recipes I chose mainly for this because all 4 of them sort of come together quickly. And that's key for prepping ahead of time and having something that's like ready to assemble. So all 4 of these had some prep that can be done ahead of time and then had a really quick sort of assembly or final step at the end. I also chose these recipes because they had ingredients in common. So it makes it easier for batch cooking if you're making multiple recipes that use something like butternut squash or roasted peppers and onions. Or you guys, that reminds me, I was going to reserve some of the peppers and onions to put on the taco. So just remember that you can put some of that on your taco as well. The soup,
freezes really well too. So if you want to make soup on a Sunday and eat it on a like Friday or the next week, you can easily freeze it. And when you reheat it, just blend it one more time to sort of reincorporate it. Yeah, that's kind of why I chose these. And then a mix of proteins. Usually if I do that for my clients, I'll make sure they have like something with chicken, something with a fish, something with pork, something with beef. But if you're doing batch cooking and say you have like a kid who only eats chicken, that makes it easier because you can just batch cook your chicken at the beginning of the week and use it in multiple applications. If you're doing, you can just do it like a simple preparation, chicken roasted with olive oil, salt, and pepper, and that can be added to any meal you're making. Yeah, does that answer your question? Okay. Okay, final dish is our Greek grain ball. And we're gonna start out with, I'm gonna show you how to do the brown rice. I already have some made, so I'm just gonna start the process for you so you see how I normally do it. Brown rice takes longer than white rice because it still has its husk on the outside, so it takes longer to cook through. But the method that I normally use is this one because it's a little bit more foolproof. You don't have to get the measurements perfect. You don't have to sit and watch it. So what we're gonna do is take our pot. We're gonna measure 2 cups of brown rice dry, and this is gonna be good for like maybe 3 meals. It's gonna make probably 4 cups in total of cooked rice. Let's see. And if you know you are going to be using brown rice, but you want to save some, you can freeze cooked rice in, say, like, quart bags, like a cup per bag or 2 cups per bag. Freeze it in your freezer, take it out. All you have to do is microwave it, and it's like fluffy and steamy and ready to go. If you really, really want to save time, a lot of grocery stores now will sell pre-cooked brown rice in the freezer section in bags already. If I'm like really crunched for time at a client's service, sometimes I'll just buy that. It's ready to go. That's a great time saver, but it's a little more pricey than just cooking your own rice and freezing it. Okay, so this is a method I learned from Savor magazine. They boil their brown rice like pasta, so you don't have to measure the water, just put a ton of water, like more than you would need. So we're gonna do that. And I don't rinse my brown rice. It just doesn't have the starch on the outside that white rice does. So you don't have to spend time doing that step. Okay, you can see how much water that is. Maybe like 5 cups of water or something like that. But you don't have to measure, just make sure it's a lot of water. And then you're gonna put it on your pot or on your stove to boil. And if we get to it, we might run out of time before it gets to that point, but you're gonna let it boil for 30 minutes and then drain it. You're gonna like through a strainer, and then put it back in your pot covered on medium-low heat for 10 minutes to let it steam, and that's it. That's brown rice. To me, that's an easy way to do it. If you have an Instant Pot or I guess a rice cooker, that might be another thing to invest in. Instant Pot does a great job with brown rice and does it really quickly. So plug for Instant Pot. I use it every week. So we'll just let that go. And if we get to it, we get to it. But I have brown rice already cooked. And next we're gonna do the chicken marinade. This is a Greek marinade. Thank you. And it's super, super dead simple. Lemon juice. And if you want extra credit, lemon zest. I always put lemon zest in whatever I'm adding lemon juice to. It just adds that extra lemon flavor
It's noticeable. Oops, where's my microphone? Okay. So a little bit of lemon zest. I'm doing 2 chicken breasts, but obviously you can scale it up or down. 2 chicken breasts is going to be enough for 4 grain bowls because there's so much other stuff going on. You don't need that much protein per bowl. And we're going to be cutting the breasts into cutlets anyway. So the juice, depending on how juicy your lemon is, you might need half or whole. I think I'm going to need the whole thing. And I'm just catching seeds as they come down. Okay. Lemon. All right. I'm going to do a little bit of salt. My hands are wet. Say for two breasts, maybe like a teaspoon and a half of salt. And I'm using Diamond kosher salt, by the way. Forgot to mention this earlier. There's a difference in salt brands. So if a recipe says kosher salt and it doesn't specify the brand, beware, because Diamond brand is much less salty than like a Morton's kosher salt, which is less salty than Morton's table salt. So if your recipe doesn't specify, you might want to just hold back a little bit so you can add more later if it's not salty enough, rather than over salting. So, okay. That dried oregano, where did you go? Here we go. Dried oregano, olive oil. You guys, I'm losing it. There it is. Probably about 2 tablespoons. Pepper. It's kind of the oregano that makes this Greek, but I'll finish this first and then I'll tell you. And then grated garlic, of course. I'm gonna whisk it up. Oh, I forgot one thing. Dijon. I'm gonna add 2 teaspoons of Dijon. Okay. Whisk it up. So you basically made like a vinaigrette. This is basically a lemon oregano vinaigrette. I'm gonna see it emulsified in there. And then sometimes I'll add just a tiny bit of honey to this to sweeten it up. There's so much lemon in it, you kind of need to cut that tartness. Okay, so marinade's ready. Time to cut our chicken. I'm gonna switch to a different cutting board so I don't have to wash chicken juice. Okay. So 2 chicken breasts. Chicken breast here. I'll put it over here. So cutting chicken into cutlets, I'm just going to be cutting these into 2 pieces. You may have seen recipes that have you cut into 3 pieces for cutlets. For this, it doesn't matter because when you add it to your grain bowl at the end, you're going to be slicing anyway. The trick is that we just wanted to get it a little bit thinner so it cooks through faster. So this, you can see me, I'm like holding it flat with my palm, fingers up, and then trying to keep my knife as horizontal as possible, right in the middle. And then you're just doing a sawing motion, pressing down with your non-cutting hand, and that's it. 2 cutlets. And then as you cut them, you can just drop them into your marinade. Other one. You can buy pre-done chicken cutlets at the store as well if you want to save yourself even more time. This didn't take that much time at all. Okay, my second piece got just a little wonky, but that's okay. All right, that's that. Now, I'm gonna toss my chicken in this marinade so that it's fully coated. And because this has citrus in it, again, you shouldn't let it sit super long. This is not a marinade to like put your chicken in on one night and cook it the next day or days later. The citrus juice tends to make the chicken get mushy after a while. And because these are cut so thin, that marinade is gonna soak through really fast. So 20 minutes maybe for this is enough. All right, so those are pretty well coated. I'm gonna go wash my hands. How are we doing? Quarter to till? Okay. Thank you. This one. Okay. Now, okay, so we got our grains cooking, we got our chicken marinating. Now we're gonna move on to the toppings. And really, like, the only thing left to actually do here is make the yogurt tzatziki sauce. Everything else is just chopping and topping. So we're gonna move on to our yogurt tzatziki sauce. And then it'll just be assemblage. We'll be done. There you go. Thanks. All right, move the chicken and yogurt. All right. So a bowl. I'm using kind of a lot of bowls, but if you have a lot on hand, it really is helpful. All right, brand new yogurt. I am using whole milk plain, and it's not Greek. This is just because this is what my daughter likes to eat, and that's what we have in our fridge. If you have Greek, use Greek. It doesn't matter. But if you're using Greek instead of regular yogurt, it changes one thing, which is we're going to be adding some grated cucumber to this. If you have Greek yogurt, don't strain your cucumber. If you're using regular yogurt, you're going to try to squeeze out some moisture from your cucumber. Okay, so this is about a cup of yogurt. Okay. I'm gonna add, so this is kind of something I do when I want to take some of that like raw garlic flavor out. One of the ways to do that is to let it sit in lemon juice for just a little while. It takes a little bit of the raw edge off. So instead of doing that in a separate bowl, I make a little well in my yogurt and put lemon juice in it and then grate my garlic right into that. So that's what we're gonna do. And because this is raw, we don't need that much garlic. I was about to too close. We do not need too close. Good thing I caught myself. In fact, like for me, half a clove is enough for this. It still comes through really strongly. Okay, so grated garlic right into that well. Okay. Some lemon juice. Oopsie, got a seed. Hold on. Whew, it's a seedy lemon. Okay, this is about a half a lemon's worth of juice, maybe a tablespoon or two. And then we just let this sit aside while we do the rest of the ingredients for this. And the garlic will mellow out a little bit. Okay, cucumber. This one's already cut into because We ate some of it last night. Forgot we had to save it for class. See, where's my grater? Did I move it over there? Thank you. Okay, and I'm using regular yogurt, so I'm gonna try to catch this in a strainer so that I can get some of the liquid out. Oh boy, bowls, bowls, bowls. Okay. This isn't working. Trying to catch it in the strainer, but the strainer's not sitting right. Can you hold it? Thanks. Okay, so I've got probably about a half cup of cucumber. Just gonna scrape all that in. And just gonna squeeze out as much of this juice as I can. You can add that juice to your ice water and it's like spa day. I just thought of that. That wasn't even in my notes. Okay. All right, so that's a little bit drier. Gonna dump that into my yogurt. Okay, and then the final ingredients of tzatziki is dill, a little bit of dill. Oh, can you guys see I have herbs right here? All my herbs sitting out. Just gonna do maybe a couple tablespoons of chopped dill. Oh, my knife is chickeny, hold on. Okay. Okay. And then that goes in. You can add parsley to this too, if you like parsley. I think I'm just gonna stick with the dill. Salt and pepper. I think that's it. A little bit of salt and some pepper.
I don't
I'm not gonna have time to cook the chicken, I don't think. But I have swap chicken to show you. I have like pre-cooked. I'll show you what it looks like when it comes out of the pan, but I don't think we're gonna have time to cook the chicken right now that I just marinated. All right, that's tzatziki. It's delicious and it's healthy. Well, whole milk yogurt, but yogurt's good for you. The more this sits in the fridge, the more the garlic will open up. So just beware. That's why I started out with such a very small amount. But if you like garlic, then it's not a problem. All right. We got chicken. Oh yeah, I'll show you the chicken. Okay, and I just noticed that my pot is boiling with my grains. I'm gonna set a 30-minute timer from now. And then when that goes off, drain the rice, put it back in the pot, steam it for 10 minutes. That's it. So this is the chicken breast. I just sauteed this in a pan on medium heat until internal temperature of 160. And because there was some honey in the marinade and some Dijon, you get a little bit of caramelization, which is delicious. So now we're gonna assemble our grain bowl. I think that's it, guys. Okay, let's do this. Can you hand me that powder rice? It's perfect because I still have no more counter space anywhere. Oh boy. Okay, so grains, and if you don't like brown rice, quinoa is fine, or white rice, or literally any grain you like. And I was gonna mention too, if you do a big batch of brown rice, another meal you can sort of pull out of it is really quick fried rice. All you have to do is heat it up in a pan with some like fine diced carrots, onions, celery, whatever vegetables you have on hand and whatever proteins, and then a simple sauce of soy or oyster sauce or toasted sesame oil. You can kind of just make it however you like it, fry it in a pan, and then top it with a fried egg or a scrambled egg. It's delicious. Okay, here's our grain. We are going to, oh boy, hold on. Oh, chop a couple cherry tomatoes. For like aesthetics sake, I like to make my bowls in like quadrants. So like when I chop a topping, I put it in one area and then like move around the clock. So then a little bit of chopped cucumber. Might want to crack your pot lid, like me, if it's starting to boil over. Okay. Let me get the calamatas out of the fridge. Okay. We've got chicken. And you can kind of see the grain of the chicken breast. You're going to want to cut across the grain. So if like a chicken is long like this, cutting this way will cut across the grain. Whoops. I'm just going to cut it into cubes, but slices, whatever you like, it's fine. Okay, Kalamata olives and feta. Whoopsie, stepped on a tomato. Oops, where'd my feta go? Oh, here it is. Crumbled feta and tzatziki. Can you get down over this enough? And I'm just gonna do like a little drizzle. This isn't very neat and tidy, but it's delicious. And a little bit of chopped parsley. At the end. Boop, 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 boop. Right, that's your Greek grain bowl, guys. All right, well, that's it, you guys. That's all four. Once Alex gets back, I'll show you the table spread with all four. But any questions, comments now at the end?
There was one question that came in about the soup when you were talking about batch cooking it and freezing it. If you add cream to the soup, would you put it, set some aside before adding the cream, before you freeze it, or just do it all at the same time?
I think it could all go in at the same time. If you're going to be needing to re-blend it before serving it anyway, and that will incorporate the dairy back in. So I don't think you need to worry about that.
We certainly appreciate everyone spending a bit of their Sunday with us today, and we timed this to where you would all be feeling hungry and inspired for your own dinners tonight. So are there any other kind of follow-up questions that anybody might have? Hopefully we've given you some good inspiration, and ultimately it's all about kind of planning and prepping and, you know, staying organized and just being creative with how you can use what you have on hand to get you through the week.
This is going to be our week of meals. So what I think I'll do, I'm going to kind of package everything up separately, the proteins, the salsas, the chopped stuff, but then it will be ready on the weeknights to kind of just assemble. So yeah, this works out well for me.
You can see we were able to prepare 4 different dinner ideas, all within basically 2 hours of time frame. So if you kind of go in with a plan of attack and just be your own personal chef and dedicate a couple hours each week, you can make a lot of food all at once. And technically freshly prepared food is safe to eat within the upcoming 7 days. So you don't always have to cook fresh every single night. You can kind of get ahead of the game and then just have things ready to assemble or to reheat when you're ready. That's what we do for our clients.
I forgot to mention, we note on our menu cards for clients, start with seafood. And if you're eating it throughout the week, seafood first, and then chicken, and then pork, and then beef. It's kind of the way the longer things last.
Absolutely.
Well, that's good to know.
Again, we want to thank you. I'm Chef Laura and Chef Stacey from Honest to Goodness. Our website is honesttogoodness.com, and we are always available to answer any cooking questions you have. If you want help cooking on site or even just need some recipe ideas, we have a huge database of recipes that we are more than happy to share with you at any time to give you some new ideas and get you out of your rut. And definitely wish you all best of luck in being your own personal chef for your households and taking great care of your families.
Thanks everyone. You guys were super fun to cook with. Very much. Have fun making these. If you want to send pictures into us too, we'd love to see results.
Absolutely. Oh, and we would certainly welcome any feedback or reviews via our website, our review sites of Yelp, Google, and Facebook. So share some comments, and we will be presenting more cooking classes throughout the year, and you're certainly invited to those as well.
Thank you.
Have a good night for those of you who have to go.